Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hang on just a second, just trying to get this shared out so we can get some people joining in here this morning. Good morning. You hear that? Yeah, I didn't get my volume turned down. Good morning, folks. Good morning. And now the real welcome. Good morning, Chainbreakers. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, September the 19th, 2019, and this is going to be another fantastic day. It's a thumping Thursday. So come on in, come on in, come on in. It's good to have you here. Glad to have you joining us. Good morning, Susan. Glad to have you here this morning. Yes, it is indeed a beautiful day that this Lord has made. So come on in, come on in, come on in, folks. Glad to have you here. This is kind of a very unique day, and I want you to take notice. Take a look at the date. Today is 9/19/2019, or 9/19/19. And this morning at 9/19, it'll be 9/19/9/19/19. So just take note of it today. It's kind of a special moment. You don't see these come around very often, but it's really kind of neat to take part of it. Hi, I'm Brad Smith, and I am your host for Chainbreakers 365 Live, and I want to welcome you here this morning. I'm also the creator of hashtag Uplift and Rise. I'm just glad that you've joined us this morning. I'm glad that you're part of this group. I'm glad that you're part of this video today. Hopefully this is going to be a great morning. Good morning, Jeremy and Connie. Glad to have you in here this morning. We're going to take a look and talk a little bit more, working off of what we were talking about yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about releasing your inner child. And with that, I was really getting into the creativity, the imagination that your children have, that we have in that preschool age time period. Before we start training them to think out of the rational brain, it is in that creative or imagination side of their brain that really, that is where everything gets started. I mean, let's face it. When we had Thomas Edison around, right? Did we really even have anything like the light bulb? There was nothing really to kind of create and take that to the next level. That was totally something brand new. That was something that had never been imagined before. And yet we look at Alexander Graham Bell, and we went from the telegraph to the telephone. And the telephone really evolved a lot over the years. Our grandparents probably remember cranking the phone up and having to get a hold of the operator so she could make a connection. Many times it was on a party line. And we moved from that to the phones that we knew at home that we could dial, to the ones that we could push with push buttons. They became slimmer, like princess phones, right? And later, somebody stopped and went, I'm tired of being restricted by this cord. And from there, we moved to portable phones. We could move around our house and still keep talking on the phone. We could move out into the backyard, but about the time you wanted to keep that conversation going, you needed to get into the car, you were locked up again. And it ran into one more restriction, and somebody had to use their imagination to come up with this, to come up with our cell phones, right? And they started out as huge. They had to be hardwired into our cars. And later, they could be plugged in a bag phone that we had to carry, like women carry purses, right? And that's what happened. And it wasn't until years and years later that we came out with something as small as this. I remember being taught in school and our teachers telling us, don't be dependent upon your calculators, because you're not going to be able to carry that calculator with you everywhere you go. That at some point, to walk around with a camera was something that was huge, right? And we carried around a lot of camera equipment hung over our shoulder. And yet today, all of it is available in one small device. And in fact, there is more computing ability in that cell phone than what was in the Apollo space shot that put a man on the moon. Isn't that amazing? It is amazing how far technology has gotten, but it's been because of those dreamers, those risk takers that were willing to step out of the box, not just take the box and make it into a ship or make it into our fort or whatever our children do when they toss our Christmas gift away and choose to play with the box instead. Don't ever discourage your children because they're using that imagination, and that imagination is what is going to take them into that whole other realm, completely apart from anything we've ever imagined. So if you've got that imagination, if you've got that dream that keeps going again and again and again in your mind, that dream that won't go away, if you keep imagining yourself into that second home, it's because that is a preview for what God has planned for you. And I'm not going to try to even try to say I'm quoting this quote exactly. Yesterday, I listened quite a bit to Steve Harvey, and he was quoting Albert Einstein's quote about using your imagination as a preview. Your imagination is a preview of coming attractions or scenes to come. And I know I'm screwing up this quote, but it also refers to the Bible in faith, and faith is the evidence of things not seen. It's not seen yet because it is still in your imagination. We become the risk takers when we step out of our imagination and start turning that from our imagination into reality. But here is that huge caveat. Here is that huge thing that you have to be careful of. Here is that huge thing that you have to be wary of when you've got that big dream. Because there are lots and thousands and millions of dreams that never came to reality because they were shared with well-meaning, caring, small-minded people. We share it with our family. We share it with our close friends because we think as loved ones that people that care about us and love us, they're going to support these ideas. But what happens? They turn around and crush your idea. They crush your imagination. They tell you how it's not possible, that you can't do it. And why? Because it's not the vision that God had for them. It's the vision God has for you. They don't have your vision. You have to be careful and share it only with larger minded people, people who can become your mentors, people that can help put those next steps in place and help you bring in all the resources that you need in order to be able to turn that vision, that dream, that imagination, and turn it into reality. And those people are special. Be sure that you pick those people wisely, but you need those people. You need those people to help you take it to the next level. And I guarantee you that God will place those people in your life as well. So choose that mentor. Choose that mentor that's going to help you take that dream and manifest it into reality. They can maybe turn it into an invention or an idea or a business or turn it into something that God has planned for you. Maybe you see these places, right? You see these pictures in your mind of places that you've never been. Now, maybe, just maybe, they have been planted in your mind because you've seen them in magazines, right? Because you've opened your mind up to the possibility. But if it's there in your mind and it keeps coming back again and again and again, it's because God is planting it there for you. There is nothing crazier than to sit here and say, God, look what I have planned. Because if you want to laugh from God, that's a great one to have, because God has that plan for you. And if that stands in the way, it will totally change what's going on for you. So here's the other thing I want you to be careful of, because God doesn't make mistakes. People make mistakes, but God doesn't make mistakes. And if he's planted in that with you, that dream, that imagination into your mind, that is the purpose he has laid out for you. And if we choose to dismiss it, we are dismissing God. And he doesn't make mistakes. You might miss your opportunity. Now, I am not so blind as to sit here and say that God will not continue to give us gifts, because as long as we keep waking up every single day, God's not done with us yet. As long as we keep waking up, God still has a plan and a purpose for our lives. Until he is done, we will keep waking up every day. And therefore, he has a calling on our lives. Don't think that he doesn't work in the minds or in the lives of people who have totally trashed their lives, right? David was a shepherd boy. David made all sorts of mistakes. Solomon made all sorts of mistakes. Moses couldn't speak, and yet later he led a nation. There are a lot of people who have, if you look at where they are now, you will never begin to see the vision that God has for their destiny, the purpose that he has laid out in their minds. Don't think that because of where you are right now that God can't take you there, that God can't make this possible. If he's planted it in your mind, he will bring the people, he will bring the resources that you need and give and offer them up in front of you. Or somebody will come and tell you where to find them. Be sure that you're looking for those mentors, because they will become the people that God chooses to place in your life to help get you there. Do you think it was some mistake that David was bringing food out to his brothers when they were preparing in the open field to meet with Goliath? Do you think it was a mistake that although this place was filled with soldiers, that a shepherd boy could walk out with a sling and a few flat rocks and take down the giant? It was no mistake. He was destined to be there because God put that calling on his life. He has put that dream in your mind. He has put that vision in your head. He has put that purpose that he has for you in your life. Don't dismiss God. I am speaking to somebody this morning. I don't know who it is, and I hope he's speaking to you. I want to thank you so much for being here today. I guarantee you there are people that need to hear this. Nathaniel Banks, thanks for joining us this morning. Gabe Green, thanks for joining us this morning. I am so glad to have you. If you know somebody that needs to hear this, tag them in this message. Share it out to them. Share it out to your friends. Share it out to your family. Share it out in the groups that you're members of. This is a message that, by gosh, somebody needs to hear. And we need to grow this community so that more people can hear messages like this. If you need to hear more messages like this, know that you can see us every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook Live at Chainbreakers 365. Or you can find us on replay in the same place. If you still have trouble finding it, if you still have trouble connecting, you can always go to YouTube at Chainbreakers 365, or you can go to chainbreakers365.com. There's a page that's special there just for these videos. But most of all, people, I want you to know how much I love you. You absolutely give me a purpose to get psyched up and get ready for my day every morning. You give me purpose in my life, and I love you for that. I can only pray that I am as much of a blessing to you as you are to me. Thanks so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you here live tomorrow for Chainbreakers 365 Live. Have a thumping Thursday. Bye now.